Hello, my name is Kristen Bolden, and I'd like to welcome you to The Other Side of History. Now, in this talk, I would like to share with you a beautiful love story from history. In India, there is a fabulous building, and it's called the Taj Mahal. I'm sure you've probably seen pictures of this place. But you may not know of the history behind this beautiful building. The story of the Taj Mahal is a story of the lasting love of a prince named Khurram. Now, when the prince was only 15 years old, he walked into the marketplace and he saw a girl selling silk and glass beads. The girl, who later was known as Mumtaz Mahal, was then only 14 years old. It was love at first sight. The prince, he went home and he told his father that he wanted to marry the girl. In India, the marriage arrangements of royalty depended on politics, military coalitions, alliances, fat dowries, and family ties. These were then also checked with the stars. Now, Mumtaz, she was nothing but a common girl selling beads in the marketplace. And she did not fit with the requirements needed for marriage to the prince. Instead, in a year's time, a marriage was arranged with a Persian princess instead. And shortly after that, there was another marriage that was arranged. To be a Muslim prince at that time and to practice monogamy was not only impractical, but it was unacceptable. Love is tested when difficulties and perplexities and discouragements arise. And these reveal if there is true love. Now, Prince Khurram, he could have resigned himself to the fact that this marriage could not be possible. He could have harbored the thought that perhaps the union with this girl would be a mistake. But the prince, he did not do this. In Muslim law, a man is able to marry 4 wives. However, to have a number of wives and concubines was not what seemed to interest Prince Khurram. The only thing that he could think of and what he wanted was to have Mumtaz as his wife. His love was true, deep, and unselfish, and he was focused. It took 5 years after their first meeting before Prince Khurram and Mumtaz were finally given permission to be able to marry. For the entire 5 years of waiting, they were not allowed to meet. They passed the full 5 years of their engagement without ever once laying eyes on each other. Then finally, on March 27 of 1612, the long-anticipated event took place. The emperor showed the great enthusiasm and esteem that he felt for his new daughter-in-law by giving her the name Mumtaz Mahal. And it meant chosen one of the palace, or jewel of the palace. Sometimes couples may show affection before marriage, but because the affection is not true and it's not deep and unselfish, the novelty, it wears off, and the affection, it disappears. However, with Prince Khurram and his beloved wife, Mumtaz, their love became stronger, and their affection was deeper. Their lives were blended together in a beautiful harmony. The intimacy, deep affection, attention, and favor that Prince Khurram had for Mumtaz, he felt towards no other, and the prince was with Mumtaz day and night. Mumtaz was beautiful on the inside and on the outside. She was charitable and would give food to the peasants and silver to the beggars who would call to her every morning outside the brick walls of the palace. Every day she would draw up lists of helpless widows and orphans and would make sure that the prince attended to their needs. Mumtaz supported hundreds of poor families in India and arranged pensions for hundreds of more. Mumtaz was an example of female virtue at a time when there was little compassion shown towards the poor in India. Mumtaz was intelligent and soon became a political advisor to her husband. Mumtaz was Prince Khurram's trusted companion, and she traveled with him all over the Mughal Empire. The prince's trust in Mumtaz was so great that he even gave to Mumtaz his own imperial seal. Because of the influence that she had on her husband, she was able to often intervene on behalf of the poor and the destitute. Prince Khurram showed a respect and an affection towards Mumtaz. He was attentive, constant, and compassionate. He was not tyrannical, exacting, or critical of the actions of his wife. In return, Mumtaz respected and felt a great affection towards her beloved husband. The love and the sympathy that Prince Khurram showed to his wife and to others also made Mumtaz love her husband, the prince, even more. Both Prince Khurram and Mumtaz, they showed a nobility of character, and they had an elevated mind. These remarkable traits were manifested in the marriage relation. Prince Khurram sought to keep his wife in health and in courage. He spoke words of comfort to her and created an atmosphere of peace in their home. Despite Mumtaz's frequent pregnancies, she traveled with her husband throughout his earlier military campaigns. She was the prince's constant companion and trusted confidant. In the 19 years of marriage, they had 14 children together, 7 of whom died at birth or at a very young age. Now, Prince Khurram did not become the emperor until 1628, and then he became known as Emperor Shah Jahan. Then he again bestowed on his beloved wife the title Chosen One of the Palace. It was in the late spring of the year of 1631 that tragedy hit. The emperor was waiting for word of his 14th child. When the report came, it brought the announcement of the birth of a healthy baby girl. However, nothing was said of Mumtaz Mahal. For hours, the emperor waited impatiently. The emperor was preparing to go to see for himself how Mumtaz was, when at last a message arrived. The queen was well, but very tired. She wished to be permitted to rest undisturbed for the remaining hours of the night. The emperor was relieved, and retiring for the night, he planned to visit early in the morning. But a few hours later, he was awakened with the unsettling news that Mumtaz Mahal had suffered a relapse and was calling for him. He immediately dressed and went. When he arrived, he found that the queen was dying and that the doctor said that there was nothing that they could do. With Mumtaz on her deathbed, the emperor told her that he would never remarry and would build the richest mausoleum over her grave. It was several hours that the emperor sat by Mumtaz's bedside and spoke quietly with her. In the early hours of the morning, she lost consciousness, and before the sun came up, she had passed. Canceling all of his appointments, the emperor, he went into his rooms and he locked the doors behind him. He stayed in his rooms for 8 days, refusing to eat. The only sound that came from his apartments was a low, continuous moan. The emperor's sorrow was intense, and he mourned the death of Mumtaz for almost 10 years. One historian recorded that when Mumtaz died, the emperor was in danger of dying himself. Staying true to his word, the emperor never remarried and had no more children after his beloved wife died. Work on the mausoleum began in 1632. There were workers from India, Persia, the Ottoman Empire, and Europe. There were around 20,000 workers, and work on the mausoleum, it continued for 22 years. Now, Taj Mahal, it is translated as crown of the palace. It is generally believed that this is an abbreviated version of Mumtaz Mahal. Taj means crown, and Mahal means palace. The Taj Mahal is a tribute to a beautiful and a good woman, and a monument for enduring love. Some people, they go through an entire lifetime with feelings of affection towards their spouse or family, but never express it in ways that are clearly understood. Instead of love being shown to those to whom the most affection should be given, affections are often consciously repressed. Those who should be shown the very most love are instead treated with the greatest lack of warmth and kindness. There are lessons that we can learn from this history of the Taj Mahal. It's love that does make us happy. It's true love that will make our marriages happy, our homes, churches, and our nations. Where God and His principles are followed, there will be love. Prince Khurram and Mumtaz Mahal, they cultivated love, sympathy, and true courtesy towards one another. It was because they followed these principles that they were able to have a deep, true, unselfish affection towards one another. I think it's good for us all to ask ourselves, what are we communicating in our words, looks, and actions? I hope that you have enjoyed this little talk. It's a beautiful story from history. If you have, I would just encourage you to click on that subscribe button. I want to thank each one of you for listening, and God bless.